এটা ইন্ডিকেটর হিসেবে আর এটা তো এই My dear student, welcome. I am Dr. Robil Hassan, Associate Professor of Pediatrics. And last class I discussed about bronchiolitis, and today I am discussing about pneumonia. It is the major cause of mortality in under 5 children in Bangladesh, along with other third world countries. And if you become a doctor, then you have to encounter pneumonia throughout your life. Now, what is pneumonia? You all know it is an acute respiratory illness causing inflammation of lung parenchyma with recently developed radiological pulmonary shadowing. That is, there is infection in the lung tissue which causes an opacity in the lungs in chest X-ray. Okay? Pneumonia can be classified in several ways. Most common is according to the reason why they have affected or the source of infection. In considering the source of infection, they can be classified into 4 types. First one is community acquired pneumonia. When a patient develops pneumonia who is not admitted in a healthcare facility, that is hospital or clinic, for last 14 days and he develops features of pneumonia, then this person is considered having community acquired pneumonia. I am repeating, a person who is not in a hospital or healthcare facilities for last 14 days who develops sign symptoms of pneumonia for several days, then he is considered having community acquired pneumonia. That is, source of infection is the environment surrounding him, maybe from his home or his working place or from hostels or other vicinity area. And this is the most common cause of pneumonia, and causative agents are most common, that is bacteria. In neonate, common agents are gram-negative organism that is acquired from the female genital tract, that is from his or her mother. That is group B Streptococcus, Escherichia coli, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Listeria monocytogenes, etc. In case of neonates, common cause of community acquired pneumonia are gram-negative organisms like Escherichia coli, Klebsiella, Listeria monocytogenes, group B Streptococcus, etc. And after neonatal period and below 5 years, the common organisms are Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, Haemophilus influenzae, type B, Klebsiella, among the bacteria. I am repeating, under 5 years children and who are not neonates, that is more than 4 weeks age, the common cause of community acquired pneumonia are among bacteria Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, Haemophilus influenzae type B, Klebsiella, Mycoplasma, etc. And among the viruses, most common is respiratory syncytial virus. Remember that respiratory syncytial virus is the most common cause of bronchiolitis, but it can also cause pneumonia in children. Other viruses are influenza virus, adenovirus, measles virus, herpes simplex virus. Other viruses including respiratory syncytial virus, other viruses are influenza virus, adenovirus, measles virus, herpes simplex virus. Nowadays, there is a pandemic caused by COVID-19. It is a coronavirus. It also causes pneumonia, but thankfully, children are less affected. These are the cause of community acquired pneumonia. Now, what is nosocomial pneumonia? Another name of nosocomial pneumonia is hospital acquired pneumonia. When a patient develops pneumonia 48 hours, that is 2 days after hospital admission, then that is considered as nosocomial pneumonia or hospital acquired pneumonia. For example, a patient got admitted into the hospital for diarrhea. There was no sign symptoms of pneumonia at the time of admission. After 48 hours, he developed respiratory distress, cough, fever. Then it is considered nosocomial pneumonia or hospital-acquired pneumonia. That is, the organism has entered the body from hospital environment. This type of pneumonia is difficult to treat because organisms are usually drug resistant. Common organisms are Staphylococcus aureus, that is methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, etc. I am repeating: Staphylococcus aureus, that is methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, Escherichia coli, Pseudomonas, Klebsiella, and anaerobic organisms. Third one is aspiration pneumonia. It usually occurs in unconscious patient or the babies who have cleft palate or gastroesophageal reflux disorder, such or cerebral palsy. That is some kind of neurological or muscular problem. Then there is chance of aspiration causing aspiration pneumonia. It is usually polybacterial, caused by gram-positive and anaerobes. And pneumonia of immunocompromised. This pneumonia is caused by agents which are normally do not cause pneumonia in a healthy person, such as Pneumocystis cerevisiae. Pneumocystis cerevisiae, which causes pneumonia in AIDS patient. Another example is Aspergillus fumigatus. It is a fungus which causes pneumonia in immunocompromised patients. These are the example of pneumonia according to their source of origin. According to cause, pneumonia can be classified by as the etiological agents such as virus, already discussed. Due to bacteria, it is also discussed. There is also chemical pneumonitis, that is such as kerosene poisoning or hydrocarbon inhalation. It causes inflammation due to corrosive or corrosive agents like hydrocarbon or etc., causing inflammation and damage to the lung tissue. Fungus also can cause pneumonia, already discussed, that is Aspergillus fumigatus. Pathogens, parasites can cause pneumonia, that is Loeffler's pneumonia, which is caused by Ascaris lumbricoides. Parasites, among parasites which can cause pneumonia, an example is Loeffler's pneumonia, which is caused by Ascaris lumbricoides. Another classification is according to IMCI guideline, that is Integrated Management of Childhood Illness. It is not a diagnosis. Remember that IMCI guideline is a classification. It is not a diagnosis. It just sort out the disease which is severe or less severe to detect whether patient can be treated at home or patient should be admitted to a hospital. According to IMCI guideline, that is the patients of 2 months to 5 years, there is 3 types of pneumonia. First one is severe pneumonia or very severe disease. Severe pneumonia or very severe disease. Look at the heading. This pneumonia may be actual pneumonia or may be other diseases such as meningitis, which causes convulsion and unconsciousness. Then it is classified as severe pneumonia or very severe disease, which should be treated at hospital and should be referred urgently. So what are the criteria of severe pneumonia or very severe disease? There are 3 points. Presence of any general danger sign, that is lethargy or unconsciousness, convulsion, unable to take food, and vomits everything. Or there is chest indwelling, not only chest indwelling, nowadays it is called severe chest indwelling. So please remember, any general danger sign, severe chest indwelling, and stridor in a calm child. If any patient between 2 months to 5 years, there is presence of any of these criteria, then this patient is diagnosed as a severe pneumonia or very severe disease according to IMCI guideline. And treatment plan is give first dose of an appropriate antibiotic, ensure proper feeding to prevent low blood sugar, If baby can take oral food, then orally or NG feeding, and refer urgent to hospital for further management. Next one is only pneumonia. Only pneumonia includes, the criteria includes fast breathing. Here is not written. Nowadays, fast breathing and chest ingoing. Please write down. Pneumonia, criteria of pneumonia according to IMSI is fast breathing and chest ingoing. Severe pneumonia has any general danger sign, not chest ingoing, severe chest ingoing. I am repeating, for severe pneumonia or very severe disease, there are 3 criteria. Any danger sign, severe chest ingoing, not chest ingoing, that is severe chest ingoing and stridor in a calm child. And only for pneumonia, there is fast breathing and chest ingoing. So pneumonia has 2 criteria, fast breathing and chest ingoing. As this is not very severe, patient can be treated at home. So give appropriate antibiotic for 5 days, that is oral antibiotic. Soothe the throat to relieve cough with safe remedies such as lukewarm water, tulsi extract, lemon tea, etc. And advise mother when to return immediately to healthcare staff and follow up in 3 days. Not 2 days, in 3 days. So criteria of pneumonia is fast breathing and fast breathing. I am repeating, fast breathing and chest ingoing. And treatment plan as already mentioned. If cough persists for 3 weeks, then send for evaluation to the hospital. No pneumonia, cough or cold. There is no fast breathing, no chest ingoing, no danger sign. That is only cough or cold. So it can be treated at home. For cough, give safe local remedy. If there is wheezing, give inhaled bronchodilator. If there is wheezing, give inhaled bronchodilator. If there is coughing, previously it was 30 days, but nowadays if the coughing is more than 3 weeks, then refer to the hospital to find out the cause such as asthma or tuberculosis and follow up in 5 days. So I am repeating again because there are certain changes for recent IMCI guideline. First, that is, sorry, for severe pneumonia, any danger sign, not chest ingoing, but severe chest ingoing and stridor in a calm child. That is the change. And for pneumonia, fast breathing and also chest ingoing, not severe, but only chest ingoing, fast breathing and chest ingoing. How can you define fast breathing? That is less than 2 months. Respiratory rate is 60 or more breaths per minute. That is fast breathing. 2 months to 12 months. Respiratory rate 50 breaths per minute or more. That is fast breathing. And more than 1 year to 5 years. That is 40 breaths per minute or more is considered fast breathing for that age. And treatment is for pneumonia according to IMSI guideline, then appropriate antibiotic for 5 days, relieve cough with safe local remedy. If there is wheezing, that is a new point. If there is wheezing, inhaled corticosteroid, if there is wheezing, bronchodilators may be given, inhaled bronchodilators. Tell mother when to return and follow up in 3 days. And in case of non-pneumonia, cough or cold, that is coughing, soothe the throat to relieve cough, and coughing for more than 2 days, 3 weeks. Previously it was 30 days, now it is 3 weeks. If coughing for more than 3 weeks, then refer to hospital to exclude asthma or tuberculosis and follow up. Okay, and if there is wheezing, send the patient for excluding asthma and give inhaled bronchodilators. Another classification can be done according to radiological findings, that is area involved in pneumonia. There are mainly three types, that is bronchopneumonia, lobar pneumonia, and interstitial pneumonia. It will be discussed later. Now, what is the clinical features? Patients may present with fever, which is usually high in case of bacterial pneumonia. Viral pneumonia has lower fever, low-grade fever. Cough, initially dry, then becomes productive. Respiratory distress, difficulty in feeding. On examination, patient has ill-looking, that is appearance ill-looking or toxic. Temperature is raised. There is fast breathing, that is tachypnea. Tachycardia may be present. Severe cases, there will be cyanosis and grunting. And if we examine the chest, there will be restriction of the movement of the chest. There will be chest indwelling, intercostal recession, flaring of the L-anasi, and if we palpate the chest, then there may be increased vocal fremitas, increased vocal resonance, chest movement may be asymmetrical, okay? And if we percuss the chest, there may be dullness in the affected side. And in case of auscultation, if it is bronchopneumonia, there will be vesicular breath sound and crepitation will be present. I am repeating, if there is bronchopneumonia, breath sound will be vesicular, but crepitation will be present. In case of lobar pneumonia, breath sound will be bronchial. In case of lobar pneumonia, breath sound will be bronchial. Crepitation may be present. Vocal resonance will be increased. Okay. Now, what are the differential diagnoses? Anything that causes respiratory distress in a children will be in differential diagnosis of pneumonia, such as bronchiolitis, asthma, heart failure, pulmonary tuberculosis, foreign body inhalation, croup. These are the common diseases which causes respiratory distress. So, common differential diagnoses are bronchiolitis, pulmonary tuberculosis, asthma, heart failure, foreign body inhalation, croup. Investigation. Investigation, most important is chest X-ray. Chest X-ray shows patchy opacity in the lung fields or consolidation. These are the common findings. Sometimes there may be the findings of complication, such as if there is complication like pleural effusion or empyema-thoracis, there will be features of abscess. These are the complications which may also be present in chest X-ray. Complete blood count. In case of bacterial pneumonia, there will be neutrophilic leukocytosis. Viral pneumonia, total count is usually normal. In older children, if sputum production is positive, that is patient cough out sputum, then sputum for culture and sensitivity can be done. But in younger children, it is very difficult. And severe cases, if we suspect respiratory failure, then arterial blood gas analysis can be done, and sometimes bronchoalveolar lavage to detect the causative agent. So chest X-ray is the most important one, where patchy opacity or consolidation may be present commonly. Complete blood count shows neutrophilic leukocytosis if the bacteria is due to pneumonia. And older children who can cough out sputum for culture sensitivity can be done to detect the causative agent. In severe cases where respiratory failure is suspected, arterial blood gas analysis is done. Bronchoalveolar lavage is done to, in some special cases, to detect the organism. Now, management. Actually, management depends on the severity. If a neonate develops pneumonia, he should be treated in hospital. I am repeating, if a neonate develops pneumonia, then treatment should be in a hospital always. In other cases, mild cases where there is no severe respiratory distress, patient taking food orally, oral antibiotic can be given. And severe cases should be hospitalized and treatment should be done. What are the general measures? General measures in case of hospitalized patient, that is propped up position to decrease the respiratory distress. If there is hypoxia, give oxygen with face mask, nasal prongs, etc. For fever, give antipyretic, that is paracetamol. If patient is unable to take oral food, then give IV fluid and or NG tube feeding to maintain his hydration and nutrition. These are the general measures. I am repeating, that is patient should be in propped up position. If there is hypoxia, oxygen should be given either by face mask, nasal prongs or nasal cannula to maintain the saturation more than 95%. For fever, give paracetamol or antipyretic drugs. And for nutrition and hydration, if baby is unable to take food orally, then give NG tube feeding or appropriate IV fluid. And now the specific treatment, that is antibiotic. In our country, maximum cases causative agents cannot be identified. And if we cannot identify the specific organism, then a broad spectrum antibiotic is started, such as in case of neonate, ampicillin along with gentamicin. In older children, ampicillin and third generation cephalosporin like cefuroxime or ceftriaxone may be given. But if we can detect the organism, then we can specify the antibiotics, such as if the causative agent is pneumococcus, penicillin G, third generation cephalosporin or vancomycin may be given. In case of staphylococcus, flucloxacillin or vancomycin may be given. And duration of the treatment usually in uncomplicated cases, that is 7 to 10 days. But in severe cases may be for 3 to 4 weeks, like Staphylococcus aureus having abscess and pneumatocyst. And treatment of complications, such as if there is empyema thoracis, chest tube drainage should be given. Now the question, what are the complications? Complications include lung abscess, bronchiectasis, pleural effusion, empyema thoracis. That is massive damage to lung tissue causing necrosis of area and liquefaction, causing lung abscess, pleural effusion, empyema thoracis and bronchiectasis. These are the damage to the lung. Adjacent structures may also be involved, such as pericarditis, endocarditis, and sometimes distant organs are also involved through septicemia, like sepsis, arthritis, meningitis. So these are the complications. I am repeating. For lung tissue, lung abscess, pleural effusion, empyema thoracis, bronchiectasis. Adjacent structures include pericarditis, endocarditis, and if there is sepsis, that is bloodborne infection, there will be sepsis, arthritis, meningitis. So there are multiple complications which should be searched out during a treatment of pneumonia. Now, there are several X-rays. I have already mentioned that there is another classification according to the involvement of the area of the lungs. These are bronchopneumonia, lobar pneumonia, and interstitial pneumonia. Lobar pneumonia is characterized by consolidation. It involves a large area of lung or a whole lobe or segment of the lung. As inflammation causes exudation of the inflammatory fluid into the alveoli, and area of a lung becomes more solidified. It is called consolidation. A large area of the lung tissue is inflamed. There is increased vascular permeability, so exudative fluids collected into the alveoli and becomes more solid. That is, lung tissue lost its spongy texture, and it is called lobar pneumonia. It is characterized by consolidation. So what is a consolidation in X-ray? There is homogeneous opacity in an area of the lungs. For example, this lung tissue shows opacity in the right upper and middle zone of the lungs. Okay. Trachea is in central position and cardiac outline is normal. There is no pulling or pushing effect. So mediastinal structure is in normal position. So there is homogeneous opacity in the affected area. Mediastinum, that is trachea, is in central place. Cardiac shadow is also in normal position. And there, look clearly, carefully look, there is also some blackish spots. These are the airways containing air, so they are blackish. It is called air bronchogram. If in case of consolidation, there is also some blackish spots which are the airways carrying air. It is called air bronchogram. Consolidation has air bronchogram, but in case of pleural effusion or fibrosis, there will be no air bronchogram. Remember that. Fibrosis has whitish opacity, pleural effusion has whitish opacity. Differentiating point is there will be air bronchogram in case of consolidation. So consolidation has air bronchogram, that is blackish opacity due to air containing airways. And another one is consolidation does not shift the trachea or cardiac shadow. So trachea will be in central position and cardiac shadow will be in normal position. So these are the features of consolidation, that is whitish opacity, there is air bronchogram, and there will be no shifting of the trachea and cardiac shadow, that is there is no shifting of mediastinum. And that is the differentiating point from the pleural effusion, fibrosis and collapse. Pleural effusion or fibrosis has no air bronchogram, and in case of pleural effusion there is whitish opacity and trachea and cardiac shadow will be shifted to the opposite side. If there is a pleural effusion in the right side, then trachea and cardiac shadow will be shifted to the left. If there is a fibrosis or collapse in the right side, they pull the trachea and cardiac shadow to the same side. So pleural effusion shifts to the opposite side and collapse or fibrosis pulls the trachea and cardiac shadow to the same side. So consolidation has no effect on trachea and cardiac shadow, and it has air bronchogram. Remember that. And consolidation, a large area of consolidation is present in lobar pneumonia. And another classification is bronchopneumonia. It is characterized by inflammation of the terminal airways with adjacent alveoli. So there will be patchy consolidation. Bronchopneumonia is characterized by inflammation of the terminal bronchioles and at their adjacent alveoli. So it is characterized by in X-ray by patchy consolidation, that is patchy opacity. Clear? Another classification is interstitial pneumonia. It is characterized by inflammation of the interstitial space and damage to the septum, and characterized by ground glass appearance in the X-ray, usually caused by viruses like COVID-19, that is coronavirus. Now, in case of examination, you may be questioned from X-rays. Look at the chest X-ray. There is patchy opacity in the left side. There is also some patchy opacity in the right lower zone. So it is a chest X-ray of bronchopneumonia. And what will be the presentation of this patient? Symptoms will be that of fever, cough, respiratory distress. On examination, there will be fast breathing, that is tachycardia, temperature may be tachypnea, temperature may be raised. If we examine the chest, chest movement may be restricted, and there may be chest indwelling, suprasternal recession, etc. Percussion note will be resonant on the normal side. Breath sound will be vesicular. Remember, in case of bronchopneumonia, breath sound will be vesicular. Okay. And palpation shows trachea is in central position, apex beat in normal position, vocal fremitas is normal. Vocal resonance is also normal. And auscultation shows vesicular breath sound and crepitation. But what in case of lobar pneumonia? That is a lobar pneumonia having a large area of consolidation in mid and lower zone of the right lung. Look at that. There is opacity, but there is also some blackish spot due to air bronchiectasis. Trachea is in usually central position. Cardiac shadow is also in normal position. There is cardiophrenic and costophenic angles are visible. So it is a pneumonic consolidation. It is not a pleural effusion. So what will be the findings of the chest examination? Symptoms are same: fever, cough, respiratory distress. On inspection, chest movement will be restricted on the right side. There may be chest indwelling. Suprasternal recession, intercostal recession may be present. Temperature is raised. Severe cases cyanosis may be present in general examination. In case of palpation, trachea will be central position. Apex beat is in normal position. Chest movement will be restricted in the affected area. Vocal fremitas will be increased as consolidation transmits sounds better. So vocal fremitas will be increased. In case of consolidation, vocal fremitas and vocal resonance is increased. So there will be increased vocal fremitas over the area of the consolidation. In case of percussion, there will be dullness. In case of consolidation, there will be woody dullness, but in case of pleural effusion, it will be stony dullness. And in case of auscultation, breath sound will be bronchial. So what are the criteria of bronchial breath sound? Breath sound will be bronchial, and criteria are: it is high pitch harsh sound, inspiratory phase and expiratory phase is equal, there is a gap between inspiratory phase and expiratory phase, and whispering pectoriloquy is present. What is whispering pectoriloquy? As the sound wave is transmitted better in consolidation, if the chest piece of the stethoscope is placed on the chest and patient whispers, you can hear the sound clearly, such as the patient is whispering in your ear so clearly. It is called whispering pectoriloquy. These are the 4 criteria of bronchial breath sound: harsh, high-pitched sound, inspiratory phase and expiratory phase is equal, there is gap between inspiratory phase and expiratory phase, and whispering pectoriloquy is present. Okay. Whispering pectoriloquy may be present also in collapse with patent bronchus and fibrosis. This is also a case of consolidation, and clinical presentation will be the same. And in case of examination, these questions are frequently asked. Why it is a consolidation? What will be the findings of auscultation, percussion, etc. Now I am repeating the key points of the lecture. Definition of pneumonia already discussed. Main classification is according to the source of origin of infection, or that is origin of infection, that is community acquired pneumonia. The patient is not in a hospital for last 14 days and develop signs symptoms of pneumonia. Causative agents are already discussed. Nosocomial pneumonia is hospital acquired pneumonia after 48 hours of hospitalization. Aspiration pneumonia occurs due to aspiration of gastric contents usually occurs in unconscious patient or neuromuscular deficiency, cerebral palsy, cleft palate and lip. This kind of patients have every chance of having aspiration. And pneumonia of immunocompromised, where some atypical agents cause pneumonia which usually do not cause pneumonia in a healthy person, like Pneumocystis cerevisiae in AIDS patient. Aspergillus fumigatus is a fungus causing pneumonia, usually does not cause pneumonia in a otherwise healthy person. It is a classification. Another classification is etiological classification, that is bacteria, virus, fungus, protozoa, etc. Even parasite. I have already discussed it. Bacteria, common are the Streptococcus pneumoniae, Staphylococcus aureus, Haemophilus influenzae type B, Klebsiella, Escherichia coli in case of neonates. And in older children, that is more than 5 years, Mycoplasma and Chlamydia are more common. And among viruses, respiratory syncytial virus, influenza virus, measles virus, herpes simplex virus, and nowadays coronavirus, that is novel coronavirus COVID-19 is also cause pneumonia. These are the cause according to cause, that is etiological agents. Another classification is the involvement of the area of the lungs, that is radiological, which I have discussed a few minutes ago. These are bronchopneumonia, lobar pneumonia, and interstitial pneumonia. Most common are bronchopneumonia and lobar pneumonia. Bronchopneumonia is characterized by patchy consolidation in the lung fields in X-ray, where terminal bronchioles and adjacent alveoli are inflamed. And in case of lobar pneumonia, large lobe or large area of the lung tissue are inflamed and alveoli are replaced by exudative fluid. So it has a firmer consistency, which is called consolidation. In X-ray, it is a homogeneous opacity having air bronchogram, and there is no shifting of the trachea or cardiac shadow. This is the criteria of consolidation. Clear? Pleural effusion causes shifting of the trachea and cardiac shadow to the opposite side, and there is no air bronchogram in pleural effusion. And fibrosis and collapse causes pulling of the trachea and cardiac shadow to the same sides, and there is no air bronchogram. Another classification is IMCI guideline. Here are some printing mistake because recently it has changed a little bit, so I am repeating it again. Remember, severe pneumonia or very severe disease criteria are any danger sign and severe chest injury, not chest injury but severe chest injury. So any danger sign, severe chest injury, and stridor in a calm child. These are the three. And pneumonia includes fast breathing and chest injury. I am repeating, fast breathing and chest injury. These are the recent changes. Clinical features are already discussed. Differential diagnosis are also discussed. Question may be asked, how will you differentiate from bronchiolitis from pneumonia? It is also discussed in the last class. There may be question, how will you differentiate asthma from pneumonia? Pneumonia is usually caused by infectious agent like bacteria and virus. And asthma is triggered by some allergens. Pneumonia is characterized by fever commonly. Asthma is not associated is always by fever, except there is any chest infection. Pneumonia, recurrent pneumonia is there. Recurrent asthma attack is common. Family history of atopy or atopic disease in the patient is present in case of asthma, but there is no history of atopic disease in case of pneumonia. So pneumonia has no atopic disease or family history of atopic disease in the patient, but asthma has atopy. Pneumonia patient has crepitation in auscultation. That sound is vesicular or bronchial. Breath sound is vesicular or bronchial, and there is crepitation in case of pneumonia. In case of asthma, breath sound is vesicular with prolonged expiration, and bronchi or wheeze is the predominant findings. So, if we auscultate the chest, vesicular, breath sound, and crepitation are common findings in case of pneumonia. But in case of asthma, vesicular, breath sound with prolonged expiration, and wheezing or bronchi is the predominant findings. In case of chest X-ray, pneumonia patient shows patchy opacity or consolidation, and asthma patient shows hyperinflation. And complete blood count shows neutrophilic leukocytosis in case of asthma. Sorry, in case of pneumonia, there is neutrophilic leukocytosis, but in case of asthma, there will be raised eosinophil count. And another thing is, there is poor response with nebulization in case of pneumonia, but in case of asthma, there is dramatic improvement with nebulization with salbutamol. So, if we nebulize a patient with salbutamol, pneumonia patient shows poor response, but asthma patient shows dramatic response. These are the common differentiating point with pneumonia and asthma. Pneumonia, asthma patients are sometimes sensitive to certain agents like drugs or dust or pollen, but pneumonia patient has no such type of sensitivity. So asthma and pneumonia is discussed. Another question may be asked, what are the difference between pneumonia and heart failure? Because both have respiratory distress and cough. Pneumonia is usually associated with fever. Heart failure usually not associated with fever. Pneumonia patient recurrent episodes is rare in case of pneumonia, but if a heart failure patient may not treated adequately, recurrent heart failure may occur. Okay, and if we do a chest X-ray, pneumonia patient shows patchy opacity or consolidation, and heart failure patient shows cardiomegaly. And another thing is, pneumonia patient has no enlarged tender liver, but heart failure patient has enlarged tender liver. Pneumonia patient has no edema, but heart failure patient sometimes may present with pedal edema. Gallop rhythm is common in heart failure. Gallop rhythm is uncommon in pneumonia. So, if we discuss again, pneumonia patient has usually high fever because there is infection. Heart failure is usually not associated with high fever. Pneumonia patient has sputum production, which is usually yellowish, greenish, or blood stain. Heart failure patient sometimes present with sputum that is frothy due to pulmonary edema. Tender hepatomegaly present in heart failure, but not in pneumonia. Gallop rhythm present in heart failure, but not in pneumonia. Apex beat may be shifted in heart failure, but not in pneumonia. In case of pneumonia, heart apex beat may be shifted if there is associated pleural effusion. And chest X-ray shows cardiomegaly in heart failure. Pneumonia patient has no cardiomegaly. Okay. Investigations are already discussed. Blood culture can also be done in case of pneumonia. Treatment are already discussed. Complications are also discussed. A question may be asked, what are the changes in chest X-ray of a pneumonia? Commonly, chest X-ray shows patchy opacity in case of bronchopneumonia or consolidation in case of lobar pneumonia, or sometimes ground glass appearance or haziness in case of interstitial pneumonia. But there will be some other features may be present, that is pneumatocyl. It is a feature of staphylococcal pneumonia. There is small ring-like structures, that is pneumatocyl. It indicates staphylococcal infection. Sometimes there will be cavitary lesion with air fluid level, that is abscess. it also indicates usually common in Staphylococcus or anaerobic infection. And empyema thoracis, that is common in staphylococcal infection. So radiological findings sometimes indirectly indicates the causative agent, such as if there is large consolidation, it is most probably due to pneumococcus, that is Streptococcus pneumoniae. But in case of neonates and infants, if there is consolidation in the right upper lobe, that is most probably due to aspiration pneumonia. So I am repeating, if there is large consolidation, it is most probably due to Streptococcus pneumoniae, that is pneumococcus. But in case of neonates and infants, if there is a consolidation in the right upper zone, then it is most probably due to aspiration pneumonia. If there is a cavitary lesion in the apex region with consolidation, it is most probably due to Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So cavitary lesion with surrounding consolidation in apical area of the lungs indicates Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Chemical pneumonitis such as hydrocarbon aspiration usually characterized by lower lobe involvement. Recurrent middle lobe pneumonia indicates partial blockage by the foreign body or enlarged nodes. And presence of abscess, pneumatocyst or empyema thoracis is most probably due to Staphylococcus aureus or sometimes anaerobic organism. Complications are also discussed already, and chest X-ray are also discussed. Last question, how can we prevent pneumonia in our country? How can we prevent? So one thing is breastfeeding, because it protects from various infectious agents. Prevention of low birth weight and prematurity as far as possible. So it needs improved maternal nutrition. So it is a very wide range of coverage is necessary in local level and also in national level. So breastfeeding should be ensured. Maternal health should be improved to prevent low birth weight and prematurity, because these babies has more chance of having pneumonia. Indoor air pollution should be reduced by wood burning stove or passive smoking. Overcrowding should be avoided as far as possible. Air pollution should be reduced, and it requires national authority. Hand washing before touching babies or feeding the babies to stop the spread of the infection. So hand washing is very important. Adequate nutrition and prevention of malnutrition, because malnourished children has more chance of having pneumonia. So adequate nutrition of the babies is very important. And last is vaccination. Vaccination with measles vaccine, BCG vaccine, pneumococcal vaccine. There are many others vaccine to prevent pneumonia. So I think it is enough for you. Please study the book again, and I think it will be helpful for your exam. Thank you.